TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Why did I want to go job in the office? I didn't want a job in the office. I never even thought about it at that time. Because basically, and I've said this before, and I've told Mark Undertaker this, and he's well aware of it, especially during the early younger days. I was the highest paid babysitter in the world. Because Mark was a party animal in those days. In his younger days, boy, and he had the right to be a party animal. You know, he was a superstar. He still is. Was a superstar. And a lot of times I looked at myself as a babysitter because I'm several years older than Mark, and I made sure that he made the planes in the morning, and I made sure that we had a hotel room and we had rental cars, and I took care of. I think that's why I lasted so long. Not only were we real friends, and we still are, is I took care of business.
Did the office or Vince kind of put you on the side and go, hey, kind of look out, or no, you just took that under your...
I just did. It's just because I'm a few years older than he is, and that's just me. That's my personality. That's the way I am. I don't ever go anywhere without a reservation or a rental car. And I'm just that way. I'm just that. That's how I am oriented. You know.
And if the wrestler you're managing doesn't show up, there you go. So protecting your investment.
Right. So I made many mornings I'd be beating on his door, getting his ass up, or waiting for him to come in when the sun's coming up, But it was. I was a high paid babysitter, but I was having so much fun because I was doing what I dreamed. So it was payoff all the way around.
Early on, I think DiBiase was managing him. How did the transition go from you completely to managing?
Managing Taker?
Yeah.
No, that's when it was I'm getting my story confused here. It was the DiBiase Brother Love combo, right?
Yeah.
Then that lasted just a very short time.
Okay.
And I remember distinctly when Bruce Pritchard introduced me as Paul Bearer, because we joke. I just talk. Me and Bruce. I think the word Bruce Pritchard. We talk all the time too. I say all the time on a pretty regular basis. I just talked to him last week, and because we have a running joke. Because when he introduced me on WWF TV for the first time, he called me out and goes, "What's your name?" Like Brother Love.
Right.
And back then, I wasn't doing the squeaky Paul Bearer voice. That developed on its own later. I went, Paul. He goes, "Did you hear that? His name is Paul." Play the tape back now. You'll hear that. Paul what? And I went, Bearer. Paul Bearer. So when he'll call me on the phone, he'll go, "What's your name?" I go, Paul. Goes, "Paul Bearer." And after all these years, we still play that little game. But I think the word Bruce. And I love the Brother Love gimmick because I always, when I first saw him debut as that, I always would tell my friends in Dallas at the time that was me because we're still are, so much alike.
Best rib you ever seen?
Oh God, best rib. Oh God, how many ribs have I seen? It's just. Because for my generation, that's just part of the business. A rib, that's just an everyday thing. I wish I could remember all of them. There's probably some secrets I could tell, How about some secrets of the Undertaker?
Sure.
You know what the Undertaker hates more than anything in the world that will make him throw up sick as soon as he sees it? A cucumber.
Really?
He is deathly sick of cucumbers. I've seen someone who remained nameless. I won't talk about Brian Adams' crush. After a night out, stop at the Waffle House or somewhere to have breakfast in the morning after a night at the bar, the deal. Somebody drops a cucumber in his tea or whatever, and he goes and drinks, sees a cucumber, and he pukes all over the floor.
This is Undertaker or Brian Adams?
No, Undertaker.
Undertaker.
Right.
He hates cucumbers. Before we'd go to the ring, I'd take slices. We'd have cucumbers at the buffet for salad, at the show. I'd grab a handful and stick them in my pocket. I'd stick them in the gloves, his Undertaker's gloves,
right.
in the fingers, and his hat and shit. And I'd get that look,
Right.
the only look that we can share. And he has a special nickname too. We have some nicknames for each other backstage, and. Of course, I have to say, everybody knows me as, believe this, Pooh Bear.
Huh.
If you say Pooh Bear in the WWE, everybody knows this. They call me Pooh Bear. That's my nickname. Undertaker's nickname is Wendy. Wendy's hamburgers. the redheaded girl
Right.
with the freckles on her face. He hates it, but we call him Wendy sometimes. But
Flair Chopper? Somebody told me Flair is called Chopper. Or something.
no, Beak.
Beak?
Because of his nose.
Right.
I've never heard. It could be Chopper. I've never heard that.
Right.
But it's been more Beak than anything. Everybody has a little nickname here and there. But Ribs is just like kayfabe. It's pretty much dead now. The young kids today don't know anything about Ribs, and if you rib them, they go nuts. They don't know how to handle it.
Huh.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on the lack of kayfabe today in wrestling? We talked a little bit about it earlier.
It's gone. It's dead. It's buried. It's not coming back. I hear a lot of people, oh, yeah, it's going to come back. No, it's coming back. I always think of the movie The Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Lion and the Dog, and you got the wizard behind the curtain working the machine.
Yep.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. The curtain's been opened, and everybody knows who's running the machine behind the curtain. So it's hard not to pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Go ahead.
And I was just going to mention, the internet, and this is 2006. Like I said earlier, kayfabe's dead, buried, gone, dead. And it's not coming back.
Seems like there's no protection, and a lot of people who aren't in the business want to make a name for themselves, and everything's so negative. And
it's hard. Like for interview for this, for example, like for me to expose how we've done the gimmick with the concrete. It's hard for me to do that. I still have
Old school.
some of that kayfabe left in me, and to sit here and to talk to fans about certain things and stuff. But like I said, it's a new day. It's a new generation, and if you don't move on, you might as well just pack up and go home and stay there.
What do you think is wrong with the WWE today?
I don't know. Some of the storylines and shit that we've already talked about.
Right.
But not being privy to. Sometimes I wonder, because who's writing this shit? And then again, I know who it has to. It all has to go through Vince, because it's always been that way. And
you sometimes think, like, how did Vince allow this to happen?
Right. I do sometimes.
There's no competition besides TNA, so.
I wonder how it happens, because many times in the past years, I've seen Vince take a script that the writers have worked on for several days and just rip it up, throw it in the trash. Start over again, boys! I've seen that many times. Then I'll see something on there going, my God, how did this happen? Why are they doing this?
Do you think it's a mistake that they brought in outside people to write the TV and everything?
Yeah, well, being old school as I am.
Because TV is so different than house shows.
This is wrestling. I don't care what anybody says. Wrestling is wrestling, I guess I'm just too old school that, I think that, seeing some of the Hollywood writers and stuff, they don't, because I've been there when they've hired them. They don't have a clue. They don't know nothing about wrestling at all.
Do you think that's why some of the pay-per-views and some of the house shows are just so ridiculously bad, is because they're writing for TV and you possibly can't have that on a house show pay-per-view? I mean, I see, you watch Raw or whatever, TV, their matches are 3-4 minutes, and the fans are programmed to see these 3-5 minute matches, high spots, and then they go on pay-per-view and do a 20-minute match, and it's the drizzle and shits and everything. Yeah. Do you think that's a problem?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It all plays a part.
Right.
It really does. Like I said, it's pointing finger stuff. It's a new millennium. It's a new age. Things have changed, and like I said before, it's never going to go back. And I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball. I really do. Woo!
TitleMatchNetwork.com